I'm right here. I'm right here.
Where should we go?
That's muddy over there.
Right here? Behind someone short?
Here, why don't you?
Not on my
Really get there.
I hit one.
Oh, really? Are you two together? No. Okay, so you're okay.
Come on, man.
Thank you. I didn't want to butt in between
Yeah.
two people.
This is it.
Hey, let me see that smile again.
I better take my glasses off.
I'm just taking a video of the whole thing, so.
Do they come?
So because they come in groups, they cannot all here. Some are mischievous.
Naughty, naughty.
So if you bring that whole group here, but they start with that.
Oh, I don't see them come right in, but we'll see them.
It's a lot of milk.
Every 3 hours.
Mm-hmm.
And you know where they get the milk? You definitely do.
Yes, Daphne Sheldrick figured out that. And then the powder, doesn't British Airways fly it in for free?
They have been doing that all along, yes.
Yes, as their donation.
Yeah, that's their donation.
It's amazing.
It takes dedication.
Dedication.
I can't remember which little one. It was Curio. Or, how do you say? K-E-R-R-I-O. Curio?
Kerio. There's a band called Kerio.
Mm-hmm.
They found it.
Yes, Kerio. That is where they.
Oh, really? Oh, wow.
That's amazing. Well, one of them, you know how the keepers sleep above where the animals sleep in their stockings?
Yes.
One of them, I think it might have been her, 3 in the morning. She'd reach up and yank his blanket off of it. Like, I want my milk.
Yeah. They come here to have rest.
Oh,
I don't know if you've noted that the guides.
The keepers.
The keepers, about 90% of them are Maasai. Because each tribe here has its own like specialty where they have set so much of their time and energy in. My tribe people is so much into business and all that.
I see.
Luos are so much into lawyers and doctors.
I see.
The people from the coast are so much into cooks and all that.
Huh.
And then there are the Kambas, they're the ones that make carvings and all that. So each tribe has their own, and the Maasais are known to interact closely with nature, with animals and all that. So they make the best keepers. So if you look at their ears, you can see that all of them are Maasais.
There's something coming.
How can you tell?
He's coming around the corner there.
Must be a rhino.
Oh, yep, there we go.
That's my baby.
Oh my gosh. Is that your rhino?
Well,
yes, it
Raha.
is.
It's got to be, right? 'Cause there's only one.
There's one other one, but he's at Kaluku because he's hurt. This is Raha.
Oh my gosh.
Isn't he cute? And you cannot rush this rhino.
You cannot.
No, they just have to wait till he's ready.
Yes, though the elephants are very fast, they would have arrived if they at the time that the rhinos spent. The elephants would.
They'd already be over here.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, that's cute.
Oh, isn't he darling? Really good.
Huh? I will.
Hey, Rain, turn around and give me a big smile. Okay, you're good.
This is Raha.
Gosh. Hey, Rain, turn around real quick. What a cutie.
He's so tiny. He doesn't like that.
Oh, they got to hang out with him over there. Oh, he's rubbing on that.
Oh, he's so sweet. And he
The doll. Oh, wow, that's cute.
he wants to tickle.
Oh, you lost him?
Oh. Oh my gosh, that is adorable.
Can she squeeze in there? She can't see anything.
Oh, sure. Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, stop. Stop it.
There's space right here.
To your attention, everybody. So I'd like to take this opportunity and welcome you all at the Sheldrick Wildlife Trust. And Edwin is my name. So the Sheldrick Wildlife Trust is a project that was started officially back in the year 1977. After the death of David Sheldrick, who was a naturalist and the senior founder warden of the large Savannah National Park. David died in 1977, and this project was started in his memory under the management of the widow, who is now the late Dr. Dame Daphne Sheldrick, who's been running the project since then until about 6 years ago, when she passed on leaving the mandate to her daughter, Angela Sheldrick, who was running the project together with the mother for about 17 years before the mother passed on. And now we are under the management of Angela Sheldrick, the daughter. We are taking care of orphan baby elephants and orphan baby rhinos, and later on reintroducing them back into the wild. And that is why all the babies you're going to see here today are orphans. All have been rescued from different parts of the country. All are having different reasons for being orphans. Some of them, we know exactly what has caused them to be left orphans, and that's why we rescued them. And others, we're really not very sure. But since the others were found when they were still at a very young age, at an age where they would not have survived without the mother's milk, and also without protection against other dangers, that is why we had to come in and help rescue them. A young elephant will need the mother's milk for the first 2 years minimum. This means if they happen to lose a mother, so they're below 2, they will not survive. They can easily starve to death or can be attacked by the lions and the hyenas and be killed. And so that is the reason to why we have to come in, so that we can help rescue them and rear them here in the nursery for approximately 3 years. Any time between the age of 3 and 4, we will start to reintroduce all the elephants back into the wild. We necessarily don't take them where we found them, but we'll always reintroduce them to Savo East National Park and Kibwezi Forest. We do have 3 rehabilitation centers in Savo. We do have our keepers at these units. And our keepers will lead the orphans out to the park every day, setting them free in a wild environment so that they can interact, communicate, play, and make friends with lots of other wild elephants of their choices. Every day they go out and they encounter different reactions with different groups of wild families. Some of the wild elephants will invite them, and so they might spend the day together. Some will ignore them, some will reject them, some will charge them. Every day our orphans will encounter different reaction. And every evening they come back home to spend the night in the stockades. But after a long period of doing that, the relationship between our orphans and the wild elephants becomes a strong bond. This means our orphans will be invited and adopted in these groups of wild elephants. Once they get adopted, they decide not to come back home in the evening. They want to spend the night in the park with the new wild friends. This means the wild friends have accepted them in as part of the family members. And so the wild friends will train them, will protect them, will warn them against human beings, will show them everything within the park. And our orphans will have become as wild as any other elephant out there. That process of reintroducing them back into the wild takes quite a long time before it fully happens. It takes a minimum of about 5 years. And it takes this long period because it depends on the different characters to be left orphans. It also depends on their age when they became orphans. It also depends on a factor that elephants will always stay in groups and families. And that is why strangers are not just invited anyhowly in a herd of wild elephants. And that is why our keepers have to stay with them until the time they will be adopted. Once they all get adopted, then we can successfully say we've achieved our target. Our main target here is to rescue them since they were found orphans and rear them, and later on reintroducing them back into the wild. Our orphans will decide by themselves on when they're ready to go back into the wild, which wild herd to join, and whom to accompany with. Our keepers will just observe and see the reaction and let it happen naturally. The process of reintroducing the rhinos is also done gradually. We have 2 types of rhinos, a black and a white rhino. The difference between the 2 has got nothing to do with the skin color, but the shape of the mouth. Black rhinos have got a sharp pointed and apprehensile upper lip, or a hooked mouth, or an elongated upper lip. And that elongated upper lip helps them to browse on branches of trees and so they are browsers, always feeding on top of the trees. While white rhinos have got a wide and flat square mouth like the cow at home, always feeding on the grass, and so they're grazers. That's the biggest difference between a black and a white rhino. We do have other minor differences, like black rhinos are slightly smaller in size compared to white. Black rhinos are more aggressive compared to white, but both rhinos are naturally aggressive. Black rhinos are very solitary and territorial compared to white. We have before reintroduced back into the world a number of black rhinos. And when a baby rhino comes in, he or she has come in because he's an orphan and so does not have a mother to provide milk and protection. And so we assign them two keepers and we provide the two all day. The keepers will lead the rhino out in the park all day so that the rhino can learn instinctively to be wild in a wild environment. Smelling on different types of vegetation, learning what to feed on and what not to feed on, trying to create or establish their territory within the park, identifying themselves with the other rhinos within this area. Although black rhinos are solitary in nature, but we do have areas they call maidens where they do make all the dung. And when the others come around these areas, smell on the dung, they will be able to identify who else is within the neighborhood. So our baby will be identified within that area. The keeper will be there to provide protection just in case it is needed, and also to feed the baby on milk every 4 hours, day and night, and lead the baby back home to spend the night in the stockade, because the park has been lots of other wild animals, including the big cats, which is not safe for the baby. So that will happen every day, the baby rhino being led out in the park every morning, brought back to spend the night every evening. And when they attain the age of about 4 or 5 years, they always feel like they're strong enough to defend themselves. They feel like they don't want to come home, spend the night in the stockade. They want to spend the night in the park. They won't do that instantly. They will do it gradually, slowly, by starting to spend a half of the night in the park, only appearing in the stockades in the middle of the night, all by themselves. Just like sometimes the teenagers would do at home. This will last for a while before they do a full night without coming back home, then several nights without coming back home. And by the time they start to spend a full month out, it is enough evidence that one already has a territory, one feels strong enough to defend this territory, and one wants to be wild, and we let them go. So they always show us the signs, and we'll be happy to set them free back into the world. And that has been happening at the age of between 4 and 5 years. At the moment, we've got 22 baby elephants and 2 rhinos. You're going to see all the 22 elephants and 1 rhino. The second rhino won't come down for this public session because he's blind. And so we don't want to bother him up and down since he can't see. And that is why we've got this baby rhino before us now. This is a baby black rhino, and her name is Raha. Raha is approximately over 1 year old. She's about 1.5 years. But she's too small in size in relation to her age. She was rescued from Olpegeta Conservancy, which is found in Laikipia, when she was only 1 month old. And she's very lucky to be alive because she was found being attacked by the hyenas who chopped off all her tail. That's why you might have realized that she does not have a tail, and the tail will never grow back. The hyenas also ruptured her rectum a lot. And her rectum being ruptured is the main reason why she's small in size in relation to her age. Because when she came in, she was in serious pain while trying to go to the toilet. And that made her to refrain herself from feeding on enough. She could take very little milk because she didn't want any to come from the other end. And that's why her health deteriorated. So we had to call in the vets who did several surgeries to fix the rectum. And I say several because after one surgery had been done and she tries to go to the toilet immediately, the stitches would come off. And so another one and another had to be done. But after 6 months, there was some hope and some improvement. She started to increase her milk intake and started to go to the toilet without showing to be in pain. At the moment, she's now feeding on vegetation, which means all is good. The surgeries were successful. We just now have to give her a longer time so that she can develop and get to the normal size in relation to her age. She spends the day out in the park, or the bushes behind me is part of Nairobi National Park. She goes out at 6 every morning in the company of 2 keepers, learning to be a wild rhino. She comes back home for bed in the evening and spends the night in a stockade. She's got a blanket covering her just to make sure that she's warm, because it is too cold inside the park under the trees. And because she's still young, she needs to be protected. This will happen until when she will decide that she wants to be wild. She will show us the signs by not wanting to come back home in the evening, and we will be happy to set her free back into the wild. A baby black rhino by the name Raha, approximately over 1 year old. Our second rhino is called Maxwell. And Maxwell is approximately about 18 years. He's a black rhino and he's blind. Rescued from Nairobi National Park, born blind. Rejected by the mother because he was blind at 3 months, and that's why we rescued him. And when he came in the nursery, we had plans to fix his eyes so that we can set him free back into the world when he can see. Did a surgery on one of his eyes, and that surgery never succeeded. And later on, with a different eye specialist and the use of the ultrasound machine, Maxwell was found to be genetic blindness. He does not have an optic nerve. That means he cannot be fixed with an operation, and so he cannot go back into the world. And he can't go back because black rhinos are very solitary and territorial. If he goes out, he'll need to fight for his territory, but he can't see his opponents, so the others will easily fight and kill him when they're fighting for territory. And that is the main reason to why we decided to stay with him for all his life. Approximately 35-40 years is the lifespan of a black rhino. He's only 18 years at the moment. We've constructed a bigger stockade for him and provided everything in his stockade. He knows where there's water to drink, water to roll in the mud. He knows where his vegetations are. His stockade has got different partitions. He knows where all the openings are. And from the fact that the solitary nature is comfortable being alone, we don't allow the public to get close to his stockade because a lot of noise makes him scared, nervous, and wild all the time, which is not good for him. So that is the main reason why we are not able to see Maxwell today. That is all about the rhinos. I will allow you some free time to enjoy see the elephants getting the milk. And after they've been fed, I will talk about the elephants one by one. But if you've got any questions about the rhinos, you are free to ask.
Ray.
Elephants time now. And just a reminder to everybody, silence is very important. These are wild animals. We only bring them here for this public session for 1 hour. The rest of the day, they're out in the park, learning instinctively to be wild animals. So a lot of noise is not good for them. 22 elephants in total. They'll be coming down in 2 groups. This is the first group of 10. After a few minutes, the 10 will walk away so that we can get in another group of 12, slightly older than what you can see now. All these babies have got names. We've named them after the place that we've rescued them, for reasons that have caused them to be left orphans, and that's how we can easily tell them apart. And we mention the names one by one, plus their approximated age. And I say approximated because we were really not there when they were born, and so we could not tell the exact age. But the number of things that we look at to give our approximation, and since most of them came in when they're still very young, it is very easy to tell. So that is why the difference between their real age and our approximated age is very minor. Maybe a month or 2 might be the difference, if there is any. We'll start with the elephant on my left. Her name is Talek, and Talek is about 15 months. Talek was rescued from the Masai Mara along the Talek River. She was found in the company of bull elephants who were taking good care of her, and the rangers tried to find out where the mother was, but the mother could not be found. Talek, being young in the company of bulls, would not have survived without the mother's milk, because the bulls don't have milk, and she could not have survived without milk because she was young to feed on greens. So that is why a decision had to be made for Talek to be rescued, since without milk, despite the protection, she could not have made it. In front of Talek is Camille on my left, 3 years old, but smaller for 3 years, having been rescued from Sava Conservation Area. Found collapsed on the ground all alone, thin and weak and skinny, dehydrated and emaciated, looking like a skeleton. And I say this because she only had skin and bone left on her when she came in, for having stayed for a long time without food and without water. And so she was starving to death because of the drought. And that's why we rescued Camille. She is one of the miracle babies that we can say we've helped to survive. Far end corner is Muzinga, who is about 2 years old. And Muzinga was rescued from Savo East National Park. Found on the road all alone within the park in Savo East while at the age of about 4 months, which is not normal and also not safe. Not safe because at 4 months, she could not have defended herself in case of any attack. Not normal because female elephants are very protective of the young ones. They do have very strong maternal instinct. They don't leave the babies anyhowly. So finding a 4-month-old baby elephant alone meant that the mother was not alive, and that's why we rescued Muzinga. Next, the biggest in size along the line is Latika, who is approximately 3 years old. Also well known as the elephant with the shortest trunk in the nursery. She just has a short trunk, naturally, in relation to her age. She was rescued from Sava Conservation Area. She was found trapped in a snare around her neck, and that's why we rescued her. A snare is a wire trap. Being around the neck will kill the animals instantly. As one struggles to get out of this snare becomes very tight and will suffocate them within a very short period. She's very lucky to have been found still alive, and that is why we rescued Latika. Next is Olomunyak, the latest arrival that we've got in the nursery, approximately about a year old, having been rescued from the Masai Mara. A very lucky elephant to be alive. Found trying to be protected by one bull elephant. This bull was protecting him from being attacked by the lions who had surrounded him around this area. And he was all alone at that young age, meaning that if this bull was not around, he could not have been any more at the moment. And that's why we rescued him. And that's why we rescued him and named him Olomunyak, which is Maasai for the lucky one. Smallest in size, in the red blanket right in the middle, is also 1 year old. same age as Olomouc, but too small in size, having been rescued from Mugogodo forest, and her name is Mugogodo. She's been sickling for a long time since she came in, but right now she started to improve. She was rescued from Mugogodo forest, which is found in Laikipia. She was found with 2 injuries on the back, which are believed to have been caused by a machete, which means she was separated from her family by human beings, and so she's a victim of human-wildlife conflict. Right in the middle here is Taroha, who is about 15 months, rescued from Savo West National Park. Found lying down a long leg jipe within Savo West National Park at the age of about 6 months, without a sign of other elephants next to him, which meant that he was an orphan. That's why we rescued him. In front of Taroha is Kirio, approximately 3 years. Kirio was rescued from Kirio Valley, which is found within the Rift Valley. And being specific, West Pokot. Kirio was identified by the rangers, and she was just lying down all alone. The rangers tried to find out where the mother was, but the mother could not be found. And that's why we were conducted to rescue Kirio. But when she arrived in the nursery is when we discovered that both her hind legs were paralyzed. She could not make any step. She was only dragging both the hind legs on the ground. We could not tell what had caused the paralysis. And so we had to give her some time while doing a lot of massage every day on both the hind legs. And after a few minutes, after a few months, she started to improve and started to make some little steps. Since then till now, she's getting stronger every day. Next is an elephant by the name Nyambeni, who is approximately 2 years, rescued from Imendi Forest, which is found in Meru, identified by some villagers who happened to be in this forest, who came across a young elephant, 3-month-old, stuck in a ditch within the forest, and that's why we rescued Nyambeni. And lastly, we do have Shuja, who is about 2 years, was rescued from Saba Conservation Area, found stuck in a drying water hole due to the drought, and that is why we rescued Shuja. That makes a total of 10 elephants in the first been occupied by farmers. And people are doing farming next to the parks, which makes the animals get attracted to the crops, creating conflict between the two. And that is why migratory routes of wild animals are no longer existing. These areas have been occupied by human beings as well. And people are doing lots of developments along these areas. Constructions of houses and roads and shopping centers. And if the animals want to move from one park to the other in search for greener pasture and water, they're not able to do it. They will encounter all the developments. The owners will want to fight and chase them away. During that process of running up and down, sometimes the mother might end up being killed and the baby left alone. Or sometimes the baby and the mother are separated from one another. Nobody knows where the other one went home, right from your country. I say this because the end products from ivory are being sold from all over the world. So right from your home, you can make a change by ensuring that you don't buy anything that comes from ivory or from the rhino horn. By ensuring that you spread the word, all your friends and relatives and colleagues, not to buy anything that comes from ivory or from the rhino horn. If we all did that right from the comfort of our homes, we'll have ensured that the poachers don't have a market. And once they don't have a market, they won't see the need to continue killing the elephant because they don't have a place to sell this ivory, which means the population of elephants will continue to increase, which will really be great. So that is why ivory poaching is one of the reasons that has caused a few of these babies to be left orphans and therefore brought here in the nursery. Some of the babies were found falling down wells, falling down manholes, gotten stuck in the mud, washed down the rivers during the heavy rainfall, so the mothers were nowhere to help rescue them. Very few of them are orphans from natural reasons. By natural reasons I mean the mothers have died from old age, from natural diseases, and from starvation back into the wild. The majority of them, their reasons for being orphans are human-related in one or the other. And that is why it is important that as human beings, we have to come in and make sure that we give them a second chance to survive back into the world. Otherwise, without them being identified and being rescued, It means that all that you can see here now would have died, which means the population of elephants will be going down every now and then, and in a very near future, we will end up having lost all these animals. In addition to taking care of the baby elephants and rhinos, the Sheldrick Wildlife Trust has got other projects that they undertake. For example, we have got mobile veterinary units. And these mobile veterinary units will go around the parks looking for naturally injured animals, treating them, and just setting them free to continue with their own natural life. This is not necessarily on elephants and rhinos alone. It is with any other wild animals that have been found out there with any health problems. Once identified, we are conducted, and our mobile veterinary unit will either fly or drive to the scene to go and help treat the injured animals and immediately set them free to continue their own natural life after treatment. We also have anti-poaching teams. And these teams are mostly based in Savo. We go around the parks looking for snares and desnaring them. The snares are the traps that are set in the parks, especially by the poachers, and sometimes by the communities neighboring these areas to get hold of these other tiny animals for game meat or for skin. And so anti-poaching teams will make sure that they put off all the snares from the parks. They'll also help drive away the people that are burning trap in the park to ensure that the park is kept free and safe for all wild animals. Our anti-poaching teams will work together with our K9 unit, whereby in case the signs of poachers identified, our sniffer dogs will assist and make sure that the poachers are caught in the long run. Our anti-poaching teams will work together with our aerial surveillance, whereby we do have the planes that will fly in the air, patrolling along the conservation areas. In case there are any illegalities that are taking place within these areas, then our aerial surveillance will be able to notify the Kenya Wildlife Service Rangers, and our our teams on the ground will make a follow-up, find out what is happening, and help correct the illegality. And lastly, we do have a community project, and our community project is based within Savo Conservation Area. They'll go around the communities that are neighboring the park and the reserve, giving them education on how to coexist and stay together peacefully, neighboring one another. The same community project will go around the schools that are neighboring the park and the reserve, giving education to the children. When the children are still young in school, they need to learn that all animals are important, and all animals have the right to life. And these animals should not be killed just because somebody is interested in the ivory, in the skin, or in the meat. The areas where all these animals stay should be protected, which means people should stop cutting trees and instead should plant more to preserve all our forests and make sure that all other animals have got a place to feed and hide. We believe when the children are taught this when they're still young in school, they will be able to keep it in their minds when they're fully grown. They will help make good use of this knowledge by ensuring that they help protect and care for all other wild animals in general. So generally, those are all the other projects that are being undertaken by the Sheldrick Wildlife Trust, which is working together with the Kenya Wildlife Service to ensure that all animals are safe in the parks. Sick ones have been treated and set free. The orphans have been rescued. Snares have been put off. Communities and school children have been educated. And the parks are safe for all wild animals. As we wait for the next group to join, if there are any questions from any direction, you are free to ask. Just raise up your hand and shout your question, one at a time if there is any, please. Yes. Yes. The bigger one slightly likes to take care of the little ones. Any other question? In Savo, we've got over 100 among us, our 3 units, so the process of being reintroduced, and over 300 that have successfully already become wild. Yes. Keepers, the elephants are very sharp, very clever, very intelligent. They know the keepers are the guardians, and when the keepers call them, they just follow them. Like you call your kids and they just come with you. Some kids are very naughty, they don't want to come. Same to the elephants as well. Is that? It is a 5-year process. Gradually, slowly by slowly meeting the wild elephants and being trained by the wild elephants and being invited by the wild elephants and communicating with the wild elephants, because elephants have got their own languages. So we don't understand, but we can see them communicate. And eventually the wild elephants will let them know that they belong to the wild elephants. If there are no more questions, I will go ahead to mention the group that we got. Yes. The milk we are feeding the elephants is not an elephant's milk, because it is not very easy to milk a wild elephant and get the real milk. At the same time, it is not cow's milk, since cow's milk has got lots of fats, and elephants are poor in fat digestion. You feed them on cow's milk, they will diarrhea to death. And that is why we feed them on a human baby formula. These fats have been emulsified to make it easier for the babies to digest. We're feeding them on intervals of 3 hours day and night. And one of these babies takes about 24 liters of milk in a day. We add some minerals, some vitamins, and some porridge in the milk as well. The elephant on my left is called Mageno. He's 2.5 years. He was rescued from Savo East National Park. He was identified all alone on the road within the park, very thin, weak, and skinny. This is the time we had a long period of drought, and so he was starving to death. And nobody could tell where the mother was, and that is why we rescued Mageno. 3 hours, every 3 hours, day and night. Coming down is Toka, 3.5 years. And Toka was rescued from Sava Conservation Area. Toka was found standing next to the dead body. We do have Mokutan on my left, 3.5 years, rescued from Laikipia, found in a community farm in a maize plantation, without the rest of the family members, believed to have been separated from his family by human beings, and so is a victim of human-wildlife conflict. Far end left is Kitich, 3 years old, rescued from Kitich camp, which is found in Samburu, as starvation victim due to drought. Taking water on my right is Sholomai, the elephant with the longest tusks, rescued from Laikipia, found collapsed on the ground. On a private farm near Doldo Ranges, thin and weak and skinny, dehydrated and emaciated, looking like a skeleton. And that's why we rescued Sholomai. Behind Sholomai is Silaita, the main matriarch, the team leader, the mother figure, having been rescued from Samburu after she had been separated from her family by human beings. In front of Silaita is Mawingu, 3.5 years, rescued from Laikipia after she had been separated from her family by human beings. Smallest in size is Padamad, and Padamad is about 15 months, rescued from the Masai Mara, found standing next to the dead body of the mother. The mother had died from a natural disease, and the baby identified all alone next to the dead body of the mother, and that's why we rescued Padamad. On my right is Morijo, 2 years old, rescued from Old Malo Conservancy, which is found in Laikipia, after she had been separated from her family by human beings. Behind Morijo is Weka, 2.5 years, the naughtiest elephant around, rescued from Sava Conservation Area, another starvation victim due to drought. Right in the middle, with the ears out, is Lord Daika. Is 3.5 years, one of the big boys, rescued from Lord Daika Conservancy, which is found in Laikipia, a victim of human-wildlife conflict. Next, after Udaika, is Mashuru, who is approximately 3.5 years. And Mashuru was rescued from Amboseli ecosystem, after she had been separated from her family by human beings, and so she's a victim of human-wildlife conflict. That makes a total of 22 elephants that have come before you, all under our care for the past 3 years. Any time between the age of 3 and 4, we take them to different groups of wild elephants of their choices, a process that will take about 5 years or more. And once they all get adopted, we set them free, let them become wild once again. Generally, elephants will live as long as we do, and approximately 60 to 70 years is the lifespan. The lifespan of an elephant depends on the nature of their teeth. An elephant has got 6 sets of teeth, and every set will last for about 10 years. That's why any time between the age of 60 and 70, or the teeth are worn out, they will die from starvation, which is a natural death. Elephants attain maturity while at the age of between 10 to 15 years, starting with the females. The boys at a later age of about 15, 16 or 17. The gestation period of an elephant is approximately 2 years, exactly 22 to 24 months. Elephants will always stay in groups and families under the leadership of the oldest female, who by natural instinct automatically becomes the leader or the matriarch of the group. The boys will leave the families after maturity, which is above 15 years, while the females will stay together for most part of their lives. The elephants are very clever and very intelligent animals. They also do have a perfect memory, which means they will remember everything that happens in their lives. And that is why the saying that goes, elephants never forget, is very, very true. Lastly, you might be interested in supporting the work that is being done by the Sheldrick Elephant Trust. Yes, you're welcome. There are different ways you can help do that. One of the ways is by sponsoring or adopting an elephant. To sponsor an elephant, you pay a minimum fee of $50 a year. Once you pay in this fee, you will have helped to save the life of an elephant that would have died back into the wild. Once you pay in your $50 a year, we will give you a certificate in the name of the elephant that you will have adopted. You'll also get a special watercolor painting, which is done by Angela Sheldrick. You'll also get a picture and profile of your elephant, including our newsletter. Then you'll fill in a form.
Oh, really?
That's exactly it.
Okay.
Looks like a pretty good session right
That
there.
was super fun. Filled all the holes in my soul.
No, I do. I just don't know
I
that.
think it's like small. Yeah.
Where did you go? Was that fun? Don't touch it. No! Thank you.
gradually 2 hours.
Or did we? No, because I don't want to.
It's only one at these ones.
Oh, that's probably. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, he's out in the.